Okay, now I have a game for you that really falls into the same category, I would say, as 3D dot game heroes. You remember that one from the first exclusives video? I talked a bit about it, and that is nowadays quite difficult to find, and accordingly the price has jumped up quite a bit. The same thing has happened with a truly beautiful game called Puppeteer. Now, once again, I had this game forever digitally because it was a PS Plus game years and years ago. It was only when last year we had the panic about the PlayStation 3 store closing down online that I noticed people going around saying, "Where can I find a copy of Puppeteer?" And I thought, well, Puppeteer? Well, I have that game. Oh, no, I only have it digitally. Well, I started scrambling like everybody else. It was, of course, not a particularly good time to be a buyer because you had to pay through the nose. But sometimes you swallow a frog just to make sure you get an important game. And Puppeteer is a strange game. It came out in 2013 and it was made by Japan Studio. And most of you will know a bit about Japan Studio and what creativity they poured into many of their games. Not all of them, but many of their games are really exceptional. And Puppeteer is one of those. When I first started playing it, when it came to PS Plus in the early days, it freaked me out, honestly, because one of the first things that happens to this little boy is he gets his head ripped off, and I thought, oh God, I can't play this, I can't cope with this. So I put it aside and I never played it for years. It's only fairly recently that I picked it up again, and I thought, why didn't I play this earlier? This has so much energy, this game. It is so zany, so inventive, so full of fun, energy and creativity, as I said. It's just mind-blowing, really. It reminds me a little bit in that respect of Little Big Planet. Yeah, same kind of energy that just whisks you along. It's got some neat little gameplay ideas, and I'm pretty sure I recorded a little bit of gameplay, so I'll put a video clip in of me playing Puppeteer. So, of course, last year when I was looking, there were quite a few copies around, even here on our small local market, but there was only one that was still new and shrink-wrapped. So I decided to pay the $10 or $20 extra to get that copy rather than a pre-owned one. And I'm quite glad I did, because I see now on our trading site several copies of Puppeteer being relisted all the time, second-hand copies, and the sellers cannot sell it because the pressure is off a little bit, and if the asking price is high, people will hesitate. So how much will you have to pay for Puppeteer depends on whether you're in a North American or PAL region. So Puppeteer, the PAL version is a little bit cheaper than the North American version. For CIB, complete in box, an average of $44. A new copy will be higher, will be about $50. But those are just really guide prices and lower ones. If you're lucky, you could get it for less. I see some people obviously had a bit of a steal and managed to pick it up for under $40. But most of the time, especially if you need to go online, I think you'll find that eBay prices will be higher. Here in New Zealand, I'd certainly, for a second-hand copy at the moment, would have to pay, for one in decent condition with the manual, would have to pay between 70 and 90 New Zealand dollars, so roughly probably about 60, between 50 and 60 US dollars, yeah. It's getting a bit pricey, but I wouldn't call that an astronomical price. You know, we're not into the hundreds of dollars like you see with some other types of games. That is really quite rare on the PlayStation 3, I think. I don't see many games that go way beyond the $100 mark. So that was my experience with Puppeteer. It taught me a valuable lesson late in my collecting life, not to wait forever getting a physical copy of what is an important game.
Today's fantastical tale is the perilous journey of a boy named Kutaro. Moon Realm was ruled by a beautiful goddess.
Welcome to Puppeteer, one of the most original games on the PlayStation, in my opinion. It easily stands alongside Little Big Planet, with which it shares quite a few of the gameplay characteristics.
Now, where do I begin? He was the Moon Realm's ruthless new king and intended to keep it that way. So night after night he spirited away the souls of children and locked them inside wooden puppets who were doomed to defend Castle Grizzlestone. And while tonight was no exception, it would prove to be quite exceptional.
Oh, the poor dearie. Look, Yin-Yang, another day, another soul.
Poor indeed. You're as bad as the tyrant. How many of these children are you planning to parade off to certain mutilation before you realize you're wasting your time?
Why, one more, and then another after that. As many as it takes for me to get my hands on Calibras.
That's nice.
Meet our hapless hero, who's just blinked back to life, firmly in the Moon Bear King's clutches.
Kutaro! Kutaro! Your soul was summoned here at my behest. Kutaro, will you be my friend?
Wait for it. This is where he rips off little Kutaro's head, and it just freaked me out. The first time I saw it, I just scuttled away. I couldn't play the game. It took me a long time until I came back and had another go. Just look at that headless little puppet boy. Ooh. But this is, of course, the whole premise of the game. You have to find heads for Kutaro that he can use in many and often magical ways.
In there. It's a head pot. Perhaps I'll just help myself. This should do nicely. You're all set. Remember those head pots. They may be weird, but they flap around with lots of useful heads. Oh, there's another one. See? Just like I said.
Blast it! What am I doing wrong? Am I not powerful enough?
Uh-oh, look out. Quick, pick up your head. Now, this is extremely important. One false move and those heads of yours will tumble right off your shoulders. If you don't grab them right away, their magic will fade and no more head. Moon sparkles. Here, I'll show you. Voila! These are moon sparkles. Collect 100.
And believe me, this is a mechanic you will be grateful for. I certainly was, because I lost my heads quite a few times.
Looking. There, the witch's bloomers. Jehoshaphat! Oh, look there. You see that head symbol? Listen, every head has a little bit of magic to it. They react to places and objects that resemble them. Oh, why don't you just give it a try? Here, first choose the right head. Use the head's magic. Anyway, keep an eye out for those head symbols. Anything could happen. Look at that. No wonder they're so skinny.
Oh, what a little darling. Welcome. Please make yourself at home. Go and bring him to me.
Better follow that fork. The witch doesn't take kindly to long waits. Watch that feisty fork. It's as wicked as the witch. Hey, I warned you. Remember to pick that up quick. No more heads means no more you. Pass through that shimmering gateway to proceed to the back of the kitchen.
Now, make no mistake, Kuturo was not alone in his plight. The kitchen was already staffed by unfortunates whom the Moon Bear King had plucked from their beds. These children had been charged with keeping the fickle king fed, and it was a miserably hopeless task. After all, his appetite was as vast and insatiable as his lust for power.
Careful, there's this thing about fire and puppets. All those moon sparkles, you don't want to toast yourself grabbing them.
Imagine being one of these tykes and spending dusk till dawn getting kneaded and grated, peeled and parboiled, marinated, melted, minced and mashed. Or, if they were lucky, just zested, followed by a light braising.
I smell something delicious. The witch couldn't have made it. Oh, and that was my lunch. Oh, wait. There's a spark of magic in every... Head, bread. Oh, try it on that sandwich. Aha, there's that head symbol again. See how using your head can change the world? And I do mean that quite literally.
I guess some people might find yin-yang a bit annoying, but I'm not one of them. I love the voice acting. So the voice actor for yin-yang is Carrie Shale.
The witch
The witch, the Moon Witch Esma Potts, is voice acted by Rachel Atkins. The Moon Bear King by Nick Ellsworth. The music is just fabulous, don't you think?
As for Kuturo's catty companion, name of Yin Yang, he used to be the moon goddess's faithful feline. One might say his current mistress was a step down in some regards.
And the narrator is voiced by well-known British actor Stephen Greif, who sadly passed away in December last year.
Watch out for the vegetables. In this kitchen, the cook is a cook, and the squash are out to squish.
Hurry along now, dearies, because lazy boys are the first to get turned into grubs. Come hither, my pretties, so you can get lost! Yin Yang, open the windows! I'm roosting alive from this ghastly heat.
1,
Stop that! It
3.
tickles!
What do you think? Meowed by my cat-like reflexes?
Where is the moon goddess?
Does she look a bit like Princess Peach, eh?
Unhand me, you louts! How dare you!
That peppy princess ought to pipe down. Are you the new boy? I suppose you want me to get your soul back so you can return home. Well, not until you march those wooden legs up to the Moon Bear King's throne room and fetch me his magic scissors. You can do it. After all, you are a very special boy.
Deja Mew. How many very special boys are we up to now?
Yin Yang, you can keep him company.
Whoop-de-doo. We get to go to the throne room to find Calibus.
A bit further along, and I managed to get the shears.
The Moon Bear King's lackeys and set the moon realm free! Now, my brave young warrior, why don't you let Granny hold on to those for you? Right now, you wooden dolt! What was that for? Don't you tell me I'm not your type! Gotcha!
To command Calibus, you need either a heart as pure as the goddesses, or pernicious magic like the Grizz. But all you've got is an attitude.
I smell him. That's the pungent stink of a scissor thief.
Oh, General Tiger, sir. How kind of you to drop by to check on measly old me.
Don't worry. My grubs will have this whole castle locked down in no time. After all, we can't have anyone crashing the prison towers and making off with the knight's powers, now can we?
Did you hear that, dear? Then get your hiney in gear!
The tiger's tongue had slipped. Whatever powers this knight had, they were clearly important.
Here you can see how when you've lost all your heads, you kind of respawn with your heads. But of course you need enough moon sparkles for that.
Calibrus, Kuturo scrambled up and up. Onward he must climb.
So I've landed down there with a load of skull heads. Time to use my special magic skull head trick. And it's a wheel of fortune. What will I get? Zzz. A load of sparkles.
As you may have noticed, there was a reason the Moon Witch framed Kuturo for stealing the scissors. The moment she marched him off to the throne room, she had already concocted a plan to take Calibrus for herself.
Oh, the infamy! Kuturo will have to overcome many obstacles, and many heads will roll.
Despite himself, Kuturo was growing excited. What kind of awesome power could this knight in the towers have anyway?
Oops, should have watched that barbed spinning wheel. I lost one head already, and it's almost impossible to retrieve them once they've dropped down to I don't know where. I had to change my head here to the royal one to jump just that little bit higher. Mashing one button fast and furiously is obviously not that easy for my hands anymore, but I managed.
We'll have to use these for stairs. Just cut along the seam. Impressive.
Thanks to Calibrus, not even the steepest tower walls could stop Kuturo. Kuturo sliced his way through flags, vines, anything he could sink those scissors into.
I'm changing my head here to a skeleton one, hoping to activate the one in the background there, but obviously I'm doing something wrong. It's not working. Maybe I needed Yin Yang to do something. I get Yin Yang to open the head pot, and what happens? The head rolls out and boom, it's gone down into the deep, deep hole. It really pays to wait opening those head pots when you're on a level surface and can retrieve the head.
Not everyone took it sitting down when the Moon Bear King rose to power. Many tried to oust the tyrant and bring back the goddess. One or two of them even survived. But the goddess's mightiest champions all fell, and their powers were locked away in secret, well-guarded places.
Now, where do you suppose the knight's powers are hiding?
Tower top security was tight.
While I do enjoy the way the story is told, it provides a great deal of immediacy. It's like you're living the story within the game as Kotaro. I also had a bit of a problem with it because it kind of chops up, like with the scissors, the gameplay into often quite small chunks. So the moment I start paying attention to the story, I might miss my footing for a second in the gameplay. I know not everybody will feel that way, but for me it was at times a bit distracting. I really needed to focus on the vertiginous and often very fast platforming.
Towers. The crushed forces of the moon goddess were detained at His Majesty's pleasure to starve, rot, and generally suffer. Only their armor remained to tell their terrible tale. Gorging on the power in its lord's dark seal, the Weaver stretched to preposterous proportions. Kotaro knew he had to swallow his fear, step forward, and keep his head.
Well, looks like the pawn has become a knight. Why do all your problems seem to come in extra large?
So this is now a boss fight, I think. Well, I would call it a mid-boss. And it reminds me quite a bit of the early bosses in Little Big Planet. As you can see, the problem is with him swiping, you lose your heads. And I had to go through one revival, and then I was able to come up with some strategies to defeat his pattern. So basically I jumped as much as I could whenever he swiped to try and avoid the head rolling, and then you get at the end a platform to allow you to jump up and snip around from the top edge, snip as much as you can, rinse and repeat, run around, lose your head quickly, run back and fetch it, that's it, jump when he swipes, and no, get the head. The jumping is not huge in this game, and snip away, and there you go, that's the first half of the boss fight.
Looks like you found a chink in the armor. I bet you can cut through.
So this is now the second stage where there's a lot of snipping involved. Unfortunately, the armor is very dark. It can be a bit hard to see exactly what you're doing, or at least with my now rather poor eyesight, it wasn't as easy as it might look. And his swipes are actually getting more prolonged and vicious.
Starting to unravel. Checkmate! Hurry up and cut those souls free!
I missed one, the last one.
That's it! Well done!
After the formidable adversary was vanquished, an old and scratched-up shield appeared before Kutaro. Could this be the power he sought?
Tiger! Quickly, you fool! He's going to find the Knight's shield! How could he possibly know it was in there? Stop him! If Kutaro makes off with the shield or the Sun Princess, mark my growl. I'll rip that bit of moonstone right out of your mouth!
When I find that idiot who blabbed about the night in front of...
The souls he freed were homeward bound.
So we freed quite a few souls. I hope it was enough. I hope you enjoyed this bit of gameplay.
Kutaro had spied an old shield in the prison tower, but Tiger was hot on his heels. Where were the knight's powers? Who was this princess that had been locked up? And would Kutaro make it out of the Black Castle alive?
If you want to find out, play the game.